I'll tell you what, Telluride Horror Show audience is up for anything.
Right.
Like that's what we love about them is like they are up for anything. It could be just some slow burn about, I don't know, spirits, or it could be something brutal like The Golden Glove or Terrifier or whatever. The energy in the place was positive, I mean, because it was like everyone was like, "Holy crap, we're all on the same ride here."
You've heard the incredible Toby Poser and the dynamic DIY duo here on That Screening. Well, now we save one of the best for our latest episode of the That Screening podcast. Joining us in episode 15, we welcome the wonderful human being, Dad, and the man who I've had the blessing to travel with during their festival run of their breakout hit, The Deeper You Dig. John Adams knows no bounds, and along with his partner Toby and their two wonderful daughters, Lulu and Zelda, they create some very human family horror. John joins us across the Zoom landscape to discuss his lasting film screening of the 2019 German serial killer thriller, The Golden Glove, in which a serial killer strikes fear in the hearts of residents of Hamburg, Germany during the early 1970s. John reflects on this personal cinema and its impact at the Telluride screening on this episode of the That Screening podcast. Here on the That Screening podcast, we continue with the hits. This week, we bring to you another episode from the heads of the Hydra of the Adams family, including the charming young man that I see on the other side, who I've shared gelato with in many a places and traveled the world in 2019 with The Deeper You Dig. Mr. John Adams, it is an honor. How are you doing, my friend?
I am doing great, JK. I always love hanging out with you, so I'm always doing great when you're around.
I appreciate the same here. Tubi is a wonderful place, John, and there is a lot of hidden gems on there, and there is a lot of messed up stuff as well. Tell us about your screening on the That Screening podcast, and where did you see this quite lovely film?
Yeah, this is just basically a romantic comedy.
Perfect.
Me and Zelda were, I think, screening The Deeper You Dig or Hellbender. I'm not sure which one. And we were in Telluride Horror Fest, hanging out with those guys, and they're just great. That's a festival, great people. And I was hanging out with them, and I was like, "Hey, what movies do you think we should see?" And Eric was like, "Oh, you should go see The Golden Glove." And I was like, "Yeah, and is that a good one?" He's like, "It's amazing." And I was like,
Wow.
"Okay." Me and Z, who is like maybe 14 or 15 at the time, we roll into that movie. And I noticed people looking at us as we found our seats and started munching our popcorn. And and the movie starts, and it just starts hard.
Yes.
No, nobody eases into anything. It just starts hard. And so I'm like, oh, 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 fuck. Like, this is more hard than I didn't know this was going to be so dirty and hard and brutal.
Gritty. Yeah, just a little bit.
And I turned to Z and I was like, are we cool? And she was like, yeah, it's great. And I was like, okay. And so there unfolds this crazy ass movie. And it still has a very positive artistic effect.
Yes.
On all of us. And like, I don't like speaking for anybody else, but I know that Z and I talk about it artistically all the time because the best way to describe it, it's a dirty ass movie.
It's available on Tubi. It's based on the true story of a serial killer, and it's not polished and it's not nice. It's gritty and it's dirty and it smacks you in the face on a regular basis. It's one of those films that you have no respite. You're constantly being barraged with killings or nudity or just the look of the killer. I wanted to get too much more into it because for those who like those kind of underground, I would say, John, extreme, you could put in the extreme column without a doubt, true crime, it's perfect for you. You and Toby, I mean, Raw and the Golden Glove, you guys are great parents. You're very open parents. Toby talked about it last week. When you sat there and you gave the okay and you looked at the crowd, how were they reacting when it first started in that opening sequence?
Well, it's funny. I was so self-conscious because of Z's tenderness in a way. And Z's not a very tender person, but I mean, as a dad, I was a little like, oh, I mean, I'm not at all into any kind of violence against women isn't my big, I don't love it a lot. And I
Right.
also don't like sexual violence. And so there was a lot going against this movie for me. And then sitting there with my kid watching it too, I was like, I don't know about this. But when Z was like, no, it's good. I was like, oh, okay, well, cool. And then I relaxed and I just watched it for the art that it was. And the audience too was pretty stunned too. But I'll tell you what, Telluride Horror Show audience is up for anything.
Right.
Like that's what we love about them is like they are up for anything. It could be just some slow burn about, I don't know, spirits, or it could be something brutal like The Golden Glove or Terrifier or whatever. The energy in the place was positive. I mean, because it was like everyone was like, holy crap, we're all on the same ride here.
So the artistic merit I find interesting because you have a signature, you and the family have a signature in the way you handle your films. And we've had conversations before about how certain events have changed how the way you guys make films and what you've stuck with. What is the artistic merit of the Golden Glove, in your opinion? Why does it connect with you?
For a lot of reasons. One is they know what their tone is and they stick with it. And it's a small, dirty, smelly, cigarette stinking tone and bad schnapps. And it's like, that's real. It's real. They jump to a couple little fantasy kind of clips, but mostly it's small, dirty, stinky, and I love that. I love that. And the actor was phenomenal. And the women actors, the older women actors,
Right.
they just looked like real people and they acted like real people and they did some incredible stunt work. They fought like violently. They were just exceptional. Like all of the extras were exceptional. And these are things that I love. Like I love when I feel like I'm sitting around with real people
Where'd you sit in the theater with Z?
up in the balcony on the left-hand side. So we were looking down at it. So we could see everybody, but we were looking down. And it's funny because when you sit in the balcony at this particular Telluride theater, you are sitting straight but looking to your left, watching the movie to your left the whole time, which is probably, part of the cockeyed experience because you might as well be looking over to the left.
Well, Toby talked about how there was walkouts in Raw. For you, did you see people walk out?
Definitely not. No way. The Telluride audience is down. Their feet are nailed to the floor. They're there for whatever is coming. I've never seen anybody walk out of a Telluride movie. And this is Telluride Horror Show, by the way.
Right. Was there a Q&A afterwards?
Nobody showed up for that one because it was from Germany and there was no Q&A, which was too bad. It's funny when I recommend it to somebody, I always say, remember, I didn't recommend it to you.
Fair enough. Well, that was another question for when you guys were done watching it. Did you have any conversations at the Telluride Horror Show, or did you have any conversations with the people in the theater afterwards? What was the feeling when you guys were done? What was your thoughts?
Well, I think everybody walked out a bit stunned. It's funny because we did talk to people and we all loved it and we all kind of laughed about it, not in a funny, not because we like seeing dark, terrible things, but more because you have to laugh at that kind of content. It's dark humor. It's dark kind of. So no, I think people love talking about it. It really got a positive reaction. I don't think it got a positive reaction in public.
Fair enough. So it was more of a festival film. Anything for you that stood out from there, a scene or a particular character? You talked about the women and the realistic feel of it. Was there anything else that for you that stood out?
Yeah, mostly there's a main woman actor who really is in the movie a lot. And she just, what I love about her is her realism, her strength, her age, her human beauty, because it's not like she's some like beautiful, good person, but her display of humanity, her giving us this slice of humanity that's so honest and real, will always be the type of people I would love to work with, somebody like her.
Well, I'm glad you bring that up because when we talked with Toby, she said that Raw had an impact on her as a filmmaker as well. Did the artistic stylings, the merit of this film, affect the way that you approached your work afterwards? Did it have any sort of impact?
I think it more justified how we film and how we approach our filmmaking because they were similar. They had their own tone and they had their own, cinematography and they had their own style, but they appreciated the same thing we appreciate, which is kind of real broken people and how they deal. I think we like our characters a little more heroic than they do.
True.
I just love the way they approach the characters like genuine humanity with zero fluff.
For the Telluride Horror Show, is this a screening that reflects that festival?
Oh, I would say so, yeah. Because it's so artistic, it takes such a big chance. That's what Telluride Horror does, is it shows movies that are all over the place in the horror genre, but they're always committed.
Fair enough. For you, why is the screening lasted with you? Because just like I had brought up to Toby, John, you could have went any number of directions on films. You could have talked about your screenings at Fantasia. You could have talked about stuff that you traveled. You guys are global hoppers to festivals with all your work, or peers and friends being at festivals. Why this one? Why has it lasted with you?
Because I like punk rock. I grew, I'm not a big pop. I don't listen to pop music, and that's pure punk cinematic rock.
I love that. I love that. For this now, you talked about how no one was ever to connected to you that you recommended it. How often did you recommend this film for different reasons?
Oh, I recommend it all the time. I mean, if people want my recommendations, I always say, "Oh, well, you got to watch The Golden Glove," but I didn't recommend it. It's my go-to line because it's great. It's exceptional. Honestly, I do have to be careful when I recommend it because it could be offensive. It could be a
Yes.
trigger thing for lots of people. So, and I understand that. I'm not, as a piece of art, I think it's terrific.
It's definitely got a trigger warning on it. How many times you been to the Telluride Horror Show?
Five.
Times. All right, so let's go. Is it a top 5 screening at the Telluride Horror Show?
Oh, yeah. It's my top screening, without a doubt. It's because Zelda and I were sitting there together. We still talk about it to this day. It had a massive effect on us. Me and Z talk a lot together about filmmaking and about what we want to do and the direction we want to take. And we relentlessly refer to the Golden Glove.
Wow. So it's very much a bonding exercise for you as a family, which I love, which I've seen firsthand. Final question for you, John Adams. Thank you so much for being here on the That Screening podcast. What's one word to describe the Golden Glove?
Dirty, because the characters, all of their souls are dirty. And they're just not probably going to ever get clean.
Thank you so much for listening to the That Screening podcast with JK, heard on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, and more. Find That Screening podcast on social media platforms such as Instagram and Facebook, along with the official website for JK on Wix.com. Make sure to like us, share new episodes, rate us, and listen in to all the content coming from Horror Happens Radio Presents.